Welcome guys, I'm HOJ, and in today's video we'll be doing a best of one standard event with my Boros Ascension deck, kind of highlighting some of the legendary creatures here that really I do believe deserve a spot in the deck. So this deck has gone through many different transformations, and we'll be kind of going over sort of updates to the deck, and then doing the games, and then kind of going over stats at the end. But before we get into it, if you go to the video description, you're going to see links for the playlist for all the best of one standard events, all of my other decks, the deck list at moxfield.com, and then also the win rate statistics at untapped.gg. In addition, if you like this kind of content and you want to see more and want to consider subscribing, you can do that as well. Or if you want to become a member and get access, early access to my new videos for as little as 99 cents a month to help support the channel, that's another option as well. I really appreciate you guys, and I could not do this without you. So let's hop into the deck. So a lot of changes here to the deck. If this is a deck that's new to you, the kind of overall plan is to kind of focus on Firebender Ascension and try to maximize this as heavily as possible. So this is an enchantment for 1 red and 1 other. When this enchantment enters, you create a 2/2 red soldier creature token with firebending 1, and then whenever a creature you control attacking causes a triggered ability of that creature to trigger, put a quest counter on this enchantment. Then if it has 4 more quest counters on it, you may copy that ability and choose new targets for the copy. So all the creatures that we have in the deck have triggered abilities when they attack. So for example, we have Stadium Headliner, which has Mobilize 1, which creates tapped and attacking 1/1 red warrior creature tokens. We also have Voice of Victory, which does the same thing and creates 2 tapped and attacking 1/1 red warrior creature tokens. We have Hired Claw, which has a triggered ability that deals 1 damage to the opponent when it attacks, and then you can put counters on this once per turn if an opponent has already lost life. And then you have Inti, Seneschal of the Sun, which is a little bit of an older card, but fantastic in this kind of strategy. It's a 2/2 for 1 red and 1 other, that whenever you attack, you can discard a card, and then when you do, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. It gains trample until end of turn. And then whenever you discard 1 or more cards, exile the top card of your library, and you can play that card until your next end step. So a nice little kind of sort of a rummaging engine, and then also the ability to kind of make a creature go tall with +1/+1 counters and trample. Then you have Arabella, Abandoned Doll, which is a 1/3 for 1 red and 1 white. Whenever this creature attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. So this combos really well with Mobilize, and then when you can copy that with Firebender Ascension, it gets even more ridiculous. Then we have Delney, Streetwise Lookout, which is a 2/2 for 1 white and 2 other, which says that creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. And then if an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. So this essentially, if you have this and Firebender Ascension with 4 counters on it, you are quadrupling the triggers of like these other cards that have attacking abilities. So it gets pretty out of hand pretty quickly. Sanguine Evangelist, just a fantastic value creature, 1 white and 2 other. It's a 2/1 with Battle Cry. And then when this creature enters or dies, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. Battle Cry is a triggered ability that happens when it attacks. And so this is another way to make Firebending Ascension get additional counters, and it can be copied with Delney and Firebender Ascension. So just kind of all working together. 1 copy of Suki, Courageous Rescuer. Even though this doesn't have a triggered ability, the state-based ability of +1/+0 for all other creatures you control is really powerful, especially when this will hit all of your mobilized tokens that are coming into play and just give them the +1/+0. And then whenever a creature that you control leaves the battlefield, or a permanent you control, create a 1/1 white ally creature token and only once per turn. So the mobilized tokens then, once they disappear, will be replaced with a 1/1 white ally creature token. Then you have Anim Pakal, which also triggers off attacking. When you attack with one or more non-gnome creatures, put a +1/+1 counter on Anim Pakal, and then create X 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens that are tapped and attacking, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Anim Pakal. So for Firebender Ascension, this will only trigger if Anim Pakal himself attacks, but if you have Delney, this just copies the ability, I believe, whether or not he's actually attacking, so there's other ways of kind of making this a nice combo. For removal, we do need to kind of respect the current meta, which has a lot of Simic aggro flying around with all kinds of green decks playing Badgermole Cub. And one of my viewers, Patricio, I really want to give a shout out to you. Thank you for telling me about Fire Magic, which is a potential card that can deal with the Simic decks really well. So for a single red as an instant, you can do 1 damage to each creature. This will kill, I think, about 80% of the creatures in Simic aggro. So if you also power it up, you can do 2 damage and get like a Pyroclasm effect, which should kill almost everything. And I think most of the time you're going to want to hit this for the first level because it will also kill your own creatures. So it's kind of nice to use this as free mana when you get your Firebender Ascension token, which will give you Firebending 1. So when you're attacking with that and you get it triggered for extra mana, you can use that for Fire Magic, for example. Other forms of removal we have, I decided to put in 2 copies of Witchstalker Frenzy, which I think is just really good with this deck because the casting cost is reduced for every creature that attacked. And with Mobilize and all kinds of other nonsense, we're going to be attacking with a lot of creatures. This will deal 5 damage to target creature for 1 red and 3 other, but the casting cost is reduced by 1 colorless for each creature that attacked this turn. And so you can use this inside of the combat step with Firebender Ascension, and I think it's going to be pretty good. The other card, I did add 3 copies of Requisition Raid as kind of a nod to all of the artifact decks, which run like 4 copies of Pinnacle Star Cage and 4 copies of Authority of the Consuls. Both of those cards completely hose this deck, and so being able to handle both of them in one card is just kind of amazing. It's also great against other control decks that are using similar cards, and there's other situations where it will be useful. But then also being able to buff our entire team at the same time is also great. The other cards I've decided to make room for, we upped the land count to 24 to make room for 3 copies of Abandoned Air Temple. So even though this land is kind of hard to come in untapped, it will only come in untapped if you have a mountain in play, a basic mountain or basic plains, but we don't have plains in our deck. It is a mana that, or it's a land that taps for 1 white, and then you can alternatively pay 1 white and 3 other and tap it to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So you can do this at instant speed inside of combat, which is where Firebender's Ascension really helps this plan. Also, I noticed that Restless Bivouac, which is sort of the cycle of the Restless lands, is a man land where you can turn it into a 2/2 red and white ox creature until end of turn, and it's still a land. And then whenever this land attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. This is another trigger that will hit Firebender Ascension. And then so you can copy that ability. If you have enough counters on Firebender Ascension, you can copy it with Delney. It just is another card to kind of enable this whole strategy. So I decided to cut the Dalkovan Enchantments just because this deck has kind of moved away from being a sort of a mobilized deck into more of being a deck about Firebender Ascension and trying to double as many abilities as possible. Now, there are some honorable mentions that I did not add to the deck. There's Windcrag Siege, which another one of my viewers mentioned, and I just want to thank you again for bringing that up. I really appreciate it. And I'm sorry I don't have your username pulled up right now, but thank you so much. Keep putting up comments, guys. I really listen to all of them, and I appreciate your input. Windcrag Siege is another card that can double the effect of triggered abilities, and I tried it a little bit today on ladder, but I just found that it was a little bit hard because it didn't come stapled to a body in the same way that Delney does. So Delney gives you a 2/2 and also has that effect. Firebender's Ascension can have that effect and comes in attached to a 2/2 creature. Or it creates a token, I should say. So not having the body just kind of makes it a little harder to use. It's 3 mana, one red, 1 white, and 1 other. It has an alternate mode where you can use it to create 1/1 tokens that show up on your upkeep that have haste and lifelink until end of turn. And so that is useful, but I just found it to be a little bit underwhelming in the 3-drop slot, so I ultimately did not end up running it. There's other cards you can use in this deck as well. You could consider Lightning Helix. Burst Lightning is great. The other card that I ended up cutting was Caveron Harrier, which is it's a 1 power, or excuse me, it's a 1 mana 2/1 that has a effect where you can use it to trigger Firebending Ascension. And basically I just cut it because there wasn't enough room for it. Partially because the ability does take mana to activate, and so if you don't have the extra Firebending, it sometimes is impractical to be able to pay for the ability to be able to create extra tokens. So you could try this, but again, you'd have to cut something, and so that's another consideration. Okay, so that's kind of where the deck is at. Currently on ladder, I think we're somewhere in the top 1,000. Yeah, 835 Mythic. So it is going well, but I'd like to see how it does in a best of 1 standard event. So let's go ahead and jump in. There are other considerations that you might want to make depending on sort of the meta. You could potentially run cards like Kutzel's Flanker to deal with reanimation strategies. I think the deck is fast enough that you don't actually need it. But against decks like Simic Aggro, you really just want to have answers. So I think that I'm hoping that Fire Magic is going to be a good answer to that kind of deck. It's one of the few decks that's faster than we are. All right, this hand looks nice. We have a bunch of lands that are going to come into play tapped, so we do need to draw some other lands, but I think this is an interesting, I think I'm going to keep. Hopefully we will draw a land that comes into play untapped. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we can go for Restless Bivouac, and then on 2 we can use Foundry to play Voice of Victory. A lot of these cards in this deck are currently in flux, and so we might have too many lands that come into play tapped, and that might be something I need to shift. But for the moment, I'm going to try it out here. Voice of Victory, especially good against decks with islands, just because they cannot cast spells during your turn. So here we're really hoping we hit an untapped land on 3, so we can go for Anim, Pakal, or Evangelist. And actually them demo fielding, potentially helpful, because now we can get a mountain and ensure that we can play Abandoned Air Temples. That actually helped us. That's great. They just ensured that we could make our turn 3 play. All right, so now we'll go for Abandoned Air Temple and Anim Pakal and start getting value. And since we have Voice of Victory, we know that they can't play any instants or any spells. Also worth noting for this deck, it's important to go into the gameplay settings and have auto-ordered triggered abilities turned off, because you will need to reorder the attack triggers periodically, depending on what creature you have in play. All right, so they're probably just going to try to set up for like a board wipe next turn if they have like the 5-mana board wipe. So here, we could go for Evangelist because it's going to leave behind a token, which I kind of like. We also could go for Frontline Rush. We're going to have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 creatures in play. Is that just lethal? Let's see. So we've got 3, 6, 9. Yeah, we have exact lethal. Okay, that works. I think that's lethal, right? That'll work. 1-0. Also, if you like this kind of content, please share it with other friends of yours who might also like this, just because I guess some of my viewers have mentioned that I'm one of the only people who are making videos on best of 1 standard events, so that's cool to know. And yeah, glad to see if I can provide that service. All right, so we have tap land and untap land. Yeah, I think we definitely want to keep this. Hopefully we draw into a untap land. I think we just go for the turn 1 headliner and then just hope we get there. If we don't, it's not amazing, but hopefully we can. We could also play the Bivouac here and then just try to play this later, especially... yeah, I don't know. I guess we go either way. I guess I'll start with the Bivouac. It's nice to have the turn 1 when we can, but missing turn 2 is pretty rough. So it's a consideration to maybe look at cutting some of the come into play tapped lands. With 24 land, I just wanted to have like extra lands in the deck so that we wouldn't necessarily have to make a hard choice, but just have access to the good value lands. But I was really excited to find out that Restless Bivouac worked with the strategy. Like, it's so cool. Don't know what our opponent is thinking about. Maybe they're timing out. Not sure. All right, looks like they are just timing out. We guess we want probably more red mana here. And we'll lead out here with Firebender Ascension. We might be able to use the extra mana for like Witchstalker Frenzy if we need to like fight through something, potentially. Okay. Now I think we probably just want to double spell. Evangelist is great, but I think getting 2 spells out is going to be better. And now we're set up to flip the Ascension next turn and get it to 4 counters. So it's important because when we're in a situation like this where we are able to turn it on, it's only going to be the 4th and final attack trigger that will fully flip the ability or turn it on. And so we want to choose which one of our abilities is going to be doubled. Ideally, we want it to be Arabella. And so we'll do that by just reordering the triggers. I'm still kind of getting used to it. So not only do you want to reorder the triggers just from the creatures, but you also want to reorder the triggers from the Ascension as well. All right, so here we'll just go for Evangelist and then just keep going. Now that it's on 3 counters, they're all going to get essentially doubled, because as soon as it hits 4, the 4th trigger and every one after that will be doubled. So it doesn't matter the order anymore. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and activate Bivouac here, just because we don't want to overextend into the board. And this will... We could also use Abandoned Air Temple here. So either get an additional trigger. We're going to get 1+1/+1 counter and hit them for... Let's see, this will hit them for an extra 4 damage versus... I guess it's the same. So actually, let's do the Abandoned Air Temple here. I think that'll be slightly better. But yeah, this is pretty sweet. You do have to do a lot of clicking. Oh, you know what? Let's see. I think I missed a trigger. Or actually, we could have reordered the Sanguine Evangelist so that these both saw the extra battle cry. Yeah, they're completely dead, but just for min-maxing, you know, moving the triggers around so that those new tokens also get both battle cry buffs. Yeah, it's fun. All right, 2-0. I really do like the other lands though. Like getting the Abandoned Air Temples back in makes me feel really good, because it's a nice way to fight against Authority of the Consuls. Like it really does fight against it well. And the Restless Bivouac is another way to fight against it. All right, opening hand looks great. We've got all mana that come into play untapped. Okay, up against the Omniscience deck, we're going to want to try to have Stadium Headliner ready on turn 4, or going into their turn 4 for Kona. So Voice of Victory will be nice. What do we want to do? Let's just do Air Temple here. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter if I attack with this thing first. Let me think. So next turn, actually we're only going to have 3 mana. So I think actually we might have to Frontline Rush instead of Voice of Victory, just so that we have enough creatures in play. Let's see, I think we need to draw a 1-drop either way. Yeah, because basically on their turn 4, if they have Kona, we need to have Stadium Headliner, 2 mana, and 3 other creatures. So I think we have to draw a 1-drop next turn for that to work. Otherwise, we have to assume they don't have it and just go for like Voice of Victory here. We have 7 other 1-drops in our deck, so that's probably the play. We just go for the Frontline Rush. You could kind of go either way here. Yeah, I think we're just going to do Frontline Rush to get those into play. So if they have the dog, all right, so we didn't draw a 1-drop, unfortunately. That is unfortunate. So I think here we need to feign like we have Lightning Helix. So we need to leave 2 mana up to threaten. I think let's do Multiversal. All right, let's just attack first and see what they do. And then I'm going to leave this up. Actually, let's make this white. Can leave this tapped. And I'm just going to pretend like we have Helix because we can't stop it right now. So when you haven't got it, fake it. And maybe this way they don't go for it. Okay, they did not go for it. Awesome. So now we can safely play Voice of Victory and leave up activation mana. We could do Firebending Ascension here, but I want to get Voice of Victory in because it turns off spells on our turn. Because now if they go for Kona, we can just kill it in response. Okay. And that should be game over if they do nothing else. Okay, Anim Pakal. Yeah, Anim Pakal, by the way, is also really good with Requisition Raid. If you can give them a counter before. Yeah, but now we just double buff our team and it's kind of over. And that'll do it. Yeah, so when you haven't got it, fake it. 3-0. All right, quick break. All right. Okay, opening hand looks great. We've got mana, 1, 2, 3 drop. We're on the draw. Okay, let's lead out here with Mountain into Headliner. And then Firebender Ascension next turn, hopefully. Do they have the shock? Guess they're deciding if they want to shock it or not. So we could go for Foundry. We could also just do a Mountain here. We're going to eventually want white, but I think we can wait for a turn since the life really does matter quite a bit. A little surprised they went for the Headliner. Now this kind of had me wishing we had played the Foundry last turn, although we're taking a lot of pain from land here. I think we just go for Evangelist this turn, and then we could try to sit back and block, but I think we're better trying to just sort of go for it and just hope we get there before we die. So like next turn they're sending potentially, like if they have like Lightning Strike or something like that, that's representing 9 damage. We'll go down to 1. I don't know if we can do a kill, but I think we want to try to set up a kill, because we're eventually going to have to kill them anyways. So yeah, mono red is potentially tough if we have a lot of like pain land and we're on the draw. If they have 2 spells, it's pretty dangerous to let them both through. Just trying to think if we can win if we don't have like, if we block with bat and just chump, what we would need to draw to be able to try to win. Because like next turn we're going to be triggering Ascension, so we can like double Battle Cry. Yeah, and if they have like either Pump, or if they have like Shock plus even another Shock, it's probably just lethal. Could also consider blocking with Evangelist, because we'll get a creature left over, but then we won't be able to trigger Ascension. So if we don't have the bat, we can... We're just not pushing enough damage to really get there. If we take it and they only have Lightning Strike, we don't die. Then we can use Frontline Rush. So if we have double Battle Cry next turn, that's 3, 5, 9, 12. Yeah, it's not enough. I think we have to double block Challenger and possibly get blown out here. I mean, the problem is that they just like shock one and then kill the other. It doesn't really work. It's almost better to like block each of them. And this is fine, I guess. Yeah, it might have been better to just like single block, force them to cast a spell, and then we'd still have our bat token. Yeah, we were just running out of time there. I think that would have been a little bit better, maybe. Or potentially like, I don't know if we want to chump them both. What does this guy do? Sure. Okay, so now we could play out all of our spells here. We could also do like Headliner plus Frontline Rush and just making tokens. I think we do want to try to go towards getting Ascension here. Yeah, I kind of want to just play Evangelist. Just do another turn of setup. And then I'm not sure if we're supposed to play Headliner or just wait and just like put it into play tapped. Maybe we just put it into play tapped. I think we might need to take our foot off the gas here a little bit. I guess, yeah, because they just let this through. They have a bunch of attackers. I think we just have to play defense, unfortunately. All right, so can block Challenger. Again, if they have a spell, like it's just going to be horrible. think we just try to like full block. Obviously they have something, they just blow us out, but that was sort of happening anyways. Yeah, like maybe we were supposed to like block here and here. Would have been a little bit better. I forgot this thing had prowess. That's pretty good. But even still, we might be able to outlast him. So if we want to go to 3, we could give everything a +1/+1 counter. And just go for like Headliner plus like 2 tokens plus Requisition Raid. It's pretty dangerous to go that low. Otherwise, we could just like make 3 2/2s, which again, we have the same problem with if any spells were just done. I think we kind of have to go for it. If they have Lightning Strike, they just get us right here. Okay, so that works. Sure. So I guess if they just draw land, we can like try to get out of this. We just have to assume they have nothing. Sure. Yeah, this is a match where all this different pain land is just super, super rough. But I think having good mana is like super important. Okay, so just got to top deck something here soon. They could theoretically even attack now and just like kill us on the... Ah, we just didn't quite get there. That sucks. This is a matchup where you kind of really need to have the Sheltered by Ghosts just from all the damage you're taking. I also could have blocked probably differently and better. Or maybe we just try to like race them and like maybe not get there. But yeah, 3-1. Shelter by Ghost is also, it's a card which is really good in certain matchups, just fantastic, and then kind of dead in others. So, all right, we're on the play. Opening hand looks good. We can lead out here with Inspiring Vantage into Mountain, into Air Temple. That sounds good. And let's get Ascension going, because even if they have like the shock, we are left with something over Inti. Inti is pretty good. If we knew they didn't have shock, Inti might be better to play right now. But getting the Ascension, like working towards that, is pretty cool. Plus we do have Witchstalker Frenzy. So I think I'm just going to go with the Ascension. Oh, okay, so it's artifacts. So I think here we just go for We could go for Inti and try to like get an extra land to play or like a 1-drop. But like Evangelist is so good. I think we just want to do Evangelist here. It's also good because it plays around Pinnacle Starcage on 3. Whereas if we play the Inti, they would just get our entire team. Okay, Requisition Raid could be really good here. We can use it to get Manufacturing and Extruder and buff our team, which sounds amazing. Notably, it might be worth saving for Pinnacle Starcage, but I think getting rid of all this stuff is actually really good. So I think we're just going to do that. And we can pay the full 4 and get all 3 modes. This is how sweet this card is. So they could just get us here with Pinnacle Starcage, but at least we kind of slowed them down a little bit. Man, Food Fight is pretty good with these munitions. Yeah. They just get 2 of our bats. It's pretty good. Now we can Inti. Notably, we could also just attack and use the mana to pump this, but I think getting Inti going is nice. So because Inti is not physically attacking himself, we only, or herself, we only get 1 trigger. So we don't trigger the Firebender Ascension for that. But if Inti attacks it, herself, then we can also get the, or I can't tell if it's a guy or a woman. All right, let's get another white, I think. And now, I mean, this is actually a little... We're walking into potential Pinnacle Starcage here. But if he's got Food Fight, maybe he's not super high on tons of Starcages. Yeah, Perilous Snare is good. He might just go for Ascension. Okay. Yeah, they've got all the removal. Oh, that's a great hit. So now we can use this to get rid of Food Fight, Perilous Snare, and buff our team. We could do Extruder, but I think that I'd rather get the Voice of Victory back. Yeah, this is pretty great. All 3 modes. Man, Requisition Raid is doing work this game. Yeah, and that's going to do it. All right, 4-1. Opening hand looks good. We've got a nice 1-2, and then we have Fire Magic if we happen to be up against like Simic, maybe. Notably, Fire Magic will kill our Stadium Headliner, but it's nice insurance to have. If they don't have removal here, turn 3 Anim Pakal could be pretty big game. Okay, so this is the white enchantments deck. Yeah. I'm so in for Anim Pakal. We could have like held Fire Magic there also. It's possible that we were supposed to hold Fire Magic just to like get their guy in response to some big stupid enchantment. Yeah, maybe we were supposed to do that. Yeah, I think maybe I was supposed to, because now it's out of range. Okay, that's probably a misplay. It's so hard to like see Inti and not want to immediately cast him. All right, so we're gonna need. Yeah, I guess we can try to like have him block, and then go for it. Could also go for. Let's see. Let's get an extra white here. Could go for Suki into attack and see if he blocks. Oh, he fell for it. All right, that was a little bit hasty. I should have waited for combat damage because we could have hit him for 4 damage there off those tokens. But we did get the creature back, which is huge. If I put a stop on damage, we could have had the tokens hit first. Now this is really nice because now we can go for Fire Magic on 2 after Anim Pakal gets the counter and then kill his Spellbook Vendor. So I'm actually really quite happy with how Fire Magic is playing out. Like, it's definitely keeping us in this game. Again, here we can wait for damage. I guess we'll see what he blocks, and then I'll decide. I don't think he's blocking, but yeah, so we'll wait for damage. I'll do main phase. Yeah, I think I'll do it now because, well, I guess this is instant speed. We don't want him to be able to untap with like protection up, and this way we'll also get a token from Suki. Yeah, so that still works. He's definitely on the back foot now, and now we also have Restless Bivouac. We do also have Abandoned Air Temple, which is probably just better, but this would be a 3/3 attacker, plus it would put another counter on Anim Pakal. But we can do this, if we do this before combat, we make an extra attacking 1/1. We can also do it just, and then make the 1/1s into 2/2s. So I think we just attack first, and then do it mid-combat. Yeah, Abandoned Air Temple seems really good. Okay, cool. Yeah. Definitely happy with Fire Magic. I think it is playing really well. Even after playing the Anim Pakal and essentially walking into a potential really tough situation, Fire Magic pulled our bacon out of the fire, so I was happy to see that. And I imagine it's going to be very, very good against Simic. All right, opening hand looks great. We've got 3 mana, stuff to do. This might be like a green-white like take on the whole, like slightly different. Instead of Simic aggro, like Selesnya aggro. I think I've seen a deck similar to this. It might just be mono white, could be that. Yeah, this is another place where a Requisition Raid is going to be really good. I think we want to just go for Inti here. I guess we could go for Voice if we want to have like no nonsense on our turn, because they do run, I think, that the 2/2 flyer for 3 that even whatever it's called that can essentially put off a spell. Inti's pretty good though, because I think we want to do this on 4 ideally. So maybe we just go Inti here. Like if they had any blue mana, we would definitely play Voice, but ooh, Bunnicorn is pretty good. I think just play out some more stuff. Try to set up for Requisition Raid. No attacks. I think we just want... Try to decide if we want Evangelist versus Voice plus Hired Claw. I think Voice plus Hired Claw is usually when you're able to double spell, it's usually a little better. I think I'm just going to do that. Since we have Frontline Rush, it's another consideration. This Bunnicorn is going to be pretty nasty with a Dalkovan encampment, though. That's going to be some scary damage. Ooh, case number 2. Yuck. Oof. Try it. All right. I think we ideally want a Requisition Raid on 4 if we can. It's still pretty good doing it now. You can get like the clue token plus like a case. Might just want to go for Evangelist though, because that like will help us to like not die ideally. So I think we get in with Inti or possibly Hired Claw. Let's get in with Inti, I guess. I think we do want to keep the Evangelist for sure. Maybe we get rid of Frontline Rush, although it is a cheap way to make tokens. I'll get rid of one Evangelist here. All right, there's the land that we needed. But I think did we already play a land this turn? We might have already played a land. Okay, so we can play this tapped and then go for Evangelist. Try to survive through this turn. This is a pretty crazy turn to live through. Yeah, that Bunnicorn is going to be like a 10-10 or something insane like that. All right, so I think... Can we kill them if we untap? Let's see. I want to make sure we don't kill the nesting bot. So we could like block here. We're taking 11. All right, so we have to block the Bunnicorn. If we block like this, then next turn we essentially give everything +1/+1 and add another +3, so that's +6 damage. So that's 6, 8, 9, 13, 14, 16. Okay, I think we just do it like this. Yeah, I'm not 100% if we can get there. But I think we might. Oh yeah, I think actually we might have just enough. Pump, pump. We might need to be able to pump this. Hang on a second. So if we give everything +1/+1, discard a card for Inti. So this is going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 16. We're one short. All right. We have to draw well with Inti, I think, is the real answer. If we play this, yeah, we have to... I don't know what gets us out of this. I think we just try to shoot for it. So now, if we just use this to make tokens to block, are we still dead? Yeah, we're still dead. Just there isn't quite enough. We could get him to 1. So maybe the plan was to... we were running out of time. Oh well. Good beats. Yeah, maybe only attack with like a little bit and then try to like blow up one of the cases. Just not quite enough damage. I needed like 1 more mana to try to pump and do everything. 5 and 2. All right, opening hand looks good. We are on the play, which is nice. Bivouac is a little rough, but I think we can maybe like take turn 2 off. Yeah, because we have a lot of really powerful 3s. I think we just go for the for sure turn 3 play. Real question is if they have no more lies. Maybe we're supposed to try to double spell this turn. I think we can go for Headliner and then do Frontline Rush end of turn if it doesn't work. So let's do that. I want this to be white. Okay, there's the Star Cage. Now we go for a Courageous Rescuer, I think, or maybe Evangelist. Evangelist plays a little bit better into like Day of Judgment. Doesn't push quite as hard this turn, but I think that's okay. We might just have to walk into a counter here. It could also have like Kutzel or Kutzel's Flanker. We do also have the option of just activating Bivouac if we don't want to overextend. Suki is pretty nice because that will pump our team by +4, but this is +3, so it's pretty close. I think maybe we just go for Bivouac this turn, just to avoid the counter. What do we want? We want, I think, another red now. And then I think we put the counter maybe on like the bat, just in case they get rid of Evangelist. Yeah, they had the flanker. Okay, that's fine. So I suppose they can Stone Rain us here by killing our Bivouac. Or he just wants, like, I guess he just wants the clean board wipe. So this has got to be day, right? Either day or split up. He's going to need one of the two. Okay, that works too. He is tapped out here, which is nice. Can hit him for 3 with Bivouac. But maybe we're supposed to get a board going. I mean, the Bivouac is really good. I think we just Bivouac here. And then we play Headliner. And now he's just in a super tough spot. It's like Day doesn't do it. He has to deal with the headliner and the bivouac. Beza's pretty good. Not gonna lie, Beza is pretty good. So is Delney, though. Delney gets him to 1. Do we want to do it? I think we just Delney here. Like, Delney is really good. Actually, no, Delney gets him to 2. Could do, like, Evangelist for, like, more setup. I think it's Delney. And now even if he does Ultima, like, we still can kill him with Bivouac. Like, even if he bounces Dark Age, like, it's not good enough because Delney just kills him. That's not gonna do it. I think we just attack here. Like, I don't think this... I'm trying to think what he could possibly have. He could have, I guess, like, 1 mana bounce. That's really it. I suppose we could Firebender Ascension just for, like, setup. We don't want to play Suki because then he'll be blockable. And he just will kill Bivouac. We don't want to give the counter to... So I think we just go for Ascension here. And then just attack with Delney. Yep, and that'll do it. All right, 6 and 2. Can we go all the way? Final boss. I've been really happy with the Requisition Raids. I think those cards are just amazing. Also been pleasantly surprised by Fire Magic. Haven't had a chance to use the Witchstalker Frenzy yet, but I think those will be good. And it looks like, you know, like potentially in like the green matchup it could be good. Yeah, opening hand looks good. Okay, up against Omniscience. So definitely want to get Headliner ready with as many creatures as possible. We are on the draw, so should be a little careful. There is some consideration of getting rid of this Dragonstorm with Requisition Raid. I don't know that we do it now, but that potentially can stop his engine if he manages to get the dog and then the Omniscience, but then runs out of gas. But either way, I think we probably want to go for maybe Inti here, because we just want to make sure we can get some more creatures in play very quickly. We don't... Actually, Witchstalker Frenzy... It's going to cost 4 mana. He's playing first, so that's not going to be good enough. Or do we want Voice? I guess Inti is a little better because it gives us an extra draw. I don't think we do it this turn. Like, is the +1 damage going to be more important than, like, this land? It actually might be. I think maybe the damage might matter. So, yeah, I guess we probably just lose the land. Man, Evangelist would be a pretty good card to have access to. I think we have to do the same thing we did last time we're up against Omniscience. We have to like pretend like we've got the Lightning Strike or whatever. Alright, so here we could Inti. I really want to keep all of these cards though, is the real answer. Man. Because like we want Frenzy on 4. Requisition Raid is good at dealing with the Dragonstorm. Or his other enchantment. Frontline Rush, we want that for getting enough creatures. Voice, I think, will be good eventually. I suppose we could lose Voice here. Yeah, I guess we could lose Voice. But now we just have to hold and pretend like we've got the burn. He's going for it. Yeah, not much we can do about that. Well, the good news is he didn't have Omniscience. Alright, so let's make some tokens. Definitely want all of our mana. It's possible he has another Kona. We have to kill this thing, though. So I think we just attack and then Witchstalker Frenzy it. Leaving us with 2 mana. Do we want to go for like Firebender Ascension maybe? Or Inti? Probably... We might even need the other headliner going. I guess potential extra mana could be useful. Yeah, he had another Kona. Ugh. But maybe he doesn't have Omniscience. It's possible. Oh, he got it. That's brutal. That's so good. Yeah, so it kind of came down to like trying to like bluff that we had the burn versus like trying to burn out his Roiling Dragonstorm on 2. Oh my god, he ran out of gas? We have a chance. Have a chance. We can't Requisition Raid both Omniscience, unfortunately. That would be amazing. We can... I mean, Omniscience is in play now, so it's sort of too late, but... How do we want to do this? We could Requisition Raid. We could play the Headliner. Try to kill the Meringue. Or we could just set up. We could do another turn of like a setup turn. And I think we get rid of this Dragonstorm at this point, because we could play the Headliner here, but I don't think it's as important as getting rid of this Dragonstorm. Could have a counter here, I suppose. And then I think we just maybe set up before attacking. Could block Kona here. I mean, it's just a 4/3 now that he has Omniscience. Yeah, I think we just take it here. Frontline Rush is a really nice draw. Okay, so now we could give +4/+4. Could use Headliner to take out Beastie. Yeah, we've got enough mana to do everything, so I think we just push. If he decides to let one through, we can give +4/+4. It's not enough to kill. Maybe we just attack with Inti and then give +4/+4. That might be how we have to do it. now, before he can tap, we can kill the dog. Oh my god, did we just get there? We still gotta draw well here. Discard a card. Yup. Put this on probably a token. Okay, we still has one turn to get out of it. Woo! Good game, yeah. Man, that was close. Woo! Alright, sure. Let's just do it all. Woo! Trophied. We got there. This deck is sweet. I really enjoy it. Highly recommend you try it if you haven't yet. Again, the deck list is going to be in the description. And also, if you like this kind of content and you do want to see more, consider subscribing or becoming a member. Here are our nice, sweet prizes. Let's go ahead and see what we got. Happy to crack packs with you guys. All right. There we go. So let's take a look at the stats for the deck. All right, so in constructed events, this deck is currently 80% win rate, 8 wins and 2 losses. Yeah, these are the matches we just went up against. If you want to look at it in just in ladder, this deck is 55% win rate. So it is 59 wins and 49 losses. The highest rank that it hit was Mythic 145. But I think currently we're like mid 800s right now. So yeah, overall, really happy with the list. I do think that some of the changes were needed and were really pretty good. And I love Fire Magic. I can't wait to use it against Simic. So thank you so much for that suggestion. I am happy that I put the Requisition Raids in. I think they are necessary in the current meta, especially with all the Pinnacle Star Cages flying around and all the other nonsense. Like, you saw how good it was in those 2 matches in this current event. Yeah. And then what else did we put in? Witchstalker Frenzy, I don't know. I'm not sure about this. I think we might just want to have like the life gain of like Sheltered by Ghosts instead. I was thinking we could use it in like with Firebender Ascension mana, and maybe it's good, but I think we're taking so much damage from our land that having a way to like recoup some of that damage is pretty important. Frontline Rush is also incredible. I had shaved down a single copy of it just to make room for everything. You could also just up this to 4. I think this card is bananas good in this deck, so maybe just do that. And other than that, the lands, Restless Bivouac, this was instrumental against any kind of version of like blue-white control or whatever nonsense. Having that land put so much pressure on them. I don't know if you want to do a full play set, but like at least 3 copies feels really good. Same with Abandoned Air Temple. Just having the threat of being able to pump your entire team repeatedly is pretty busted. So even though these lands are a little bit clunky, I think the fact that we're running 24 lands total makes this work. And just having that extra room for like an extra land in your hand that doesn't really need to do anything except just come in tapped. Yeah, so that's kind of, I think also, I do like Inti. I think Inti is great. Happy that he's back in the deck. And then, yeah, Suki, incredible. Anim, Pakal, and Delney are both nuts. Arabella does a lot of work. So anyways, thanks guys for watching, and we will see you in the next one.